If it wasn't clear they got to Kai Cenat before, it's definitely clear now. Since Kai Cenat disappeared after breaking all types of records with Mafia Dawn 3, the shift has been impossible to ignore. It started with the mental health breaks, then the sudden pivot to a high fashion designer. But this viral footage of him with Jaden and Will Smith is the final nail in the coffin. The industry didn't just invite Kai in, they transformed him. And now, fans are realizing Hollywood finally got to Kai Cenat. Kai Cenat has done the impossible. He escaped the streamer bubble and walked through the golden gates of Hollywood. For years, everyone thought streamers would always be second-class celebrities, but Kai broke every record in the book. He was the chosen one, but the question is, who chose him? We've seen this pattern before. A star reaches the pinnacle, and suddenly, the person we knew vanishes, replaced by an industry-ready puppet. Kai isn't just evolving, he's morphing in real time. And nothing proves this transformation more than his recent connection to the Smiths. With Jaden Smith recently becoming the creative director for Christian Louboutin, a partnership with Kai's new fashion brand makes complete sense. But the footage of these two together doesn't look like a business meeting, it looks like an initiation. It's off, it's eerie, and it is definitive proof that they finally got Kai. This footage from the Christian Louboutin event at Paris Fashion Week is covered in red flags. The first thing I noticed was the sketchy dark red lit room they were in. It looked exactly like what you would expect from a place where the elite meet up. Kai seems so out of place and lost that he almost looks uncomfortable. Kai is known for his over-the-top energy. It's what he built his career off of. But since he disappeared and reappeared, he seems so drained and lost. Jaden was also yelling repeatedly, almost ritualistically as Kai walked up the stairs. All while we can hear Will Smith laughing manically in the background like an evil villain. The whole thing seems more like an initiation into the 1% than a fashion collab. It looks like he was being led into the other side by Jaden Smith, the man who was just named the first ever men's creative director for Christian Louboutin. We notice more of this strange, eerie environment in the footage from the event, where Kai and Jaden are seen surrounded by people wearing all black. Again, the room is dark, the room is eerie, and the energy just seems way off. It's not a coincidence that Kai wants to enter the fashion world, and the very first people he meets up with are Jaden and Will Smith. When a celebrity is ready to cross over to the next level, they have to be guided in. That's exactly what Will and Jaden are doing here. These are industry handlers sent in to initiate Kai. You have to understand, the world of high fashion is a sacred tribal one. They don't just let anyone in. Before Kai can be accepted, he has to show his alliance and go through a total transformation. Everything we are seeing right now is Kai going through that process. He's playing out a script. Just last year, there was a viral video going around of Grammy security actually trying to block Kai from the red carpet because they didn't know who he was. He was being treated like an outsider. But then, Will, Jaden, and Willow Smith were there to save Kai. They walked up to security and physically brought Kai into the Grammys and into their inner circles in front of the world's cameras.
And taking a picture, I see Willow Smith, I whip my head back and forth, I whip my head back and forth. I see Will Smith while security is right here. So while security is right there, he seen that Jaden Smith and Will Smith and Willow heavy, and then he let me through.
There is a viral photo from that night of Will Smith personally fixing Kai's bow tie, foreshadowing exactly what was about to happen. The industry was getting ready to fix Kai's image and make him go through a brand new rebranding. But the red flags don't stop at the event. They're clearly visible in Kai's new brand, Vivette. After his 4-month disappearance following Mafia Dawn 3, Kai didn't just come back with a clothing line, he came back with a new identity. During that time, he was hidden away in Italy, documenting a total personality reset on a secret channel called Kai's Mind. He wasn't the chaotic streamer we knew, he was being reborn. Then he reveals the logo for Vivette, the ET3 symbol. Kai says it's just a combination of a cross and an infinity symbol, but in the world of the occult, the symbol tells a completely different story. The logo is actually a variation of the Ouroboros symbol. The Ouroboros, or the infinity symbol, is an ancient image of a serpent or a dragon consuming its own tail, and it's one of the most enduring symbols in occultism, representing the journey of death and rebirth.
Is the logo, right? This is the logo. Now the logo is a representation of a compass, and if you could see deeper, you have to really imagine it's like an infinity symbol.
What Kai is currently doing is called a death and rebirth ritual. He is killing off his old self, the loud over-the-top streamer persona, and being reborn as a reserved creative fashion designer. In his I Quit video, Kai spoke about feeling boxed in by the high-energy chaotic persona that made him famous.
A lot of the times I am boxed into this box of being a streamer. So this is one of the first times where I'm going to display something outside of my primary category.
In occult terms, this is the death of the ego. Just as the Ouroboros eats his own tail to sustain itself, Kai consumed his own success, literally stepping away from his record-breaking streaming peaks to fuel a new version of himself. He is literally showing us this through this logo for his clothing brand and his recent behavior. Kai explicitly called the logo the symbol of infinity.
To really imagine is like an infinity symbol.
He is leaning directly into that Ouroboros symbolic meaning. The word vivet itself is Latin for he, she, or it will be forever.
Vivet is Latin for he, she, or it will live forever. And that is what I want the clothing man to do.
It's a statement of immortality. By killing his persona, he intends to create a brand that outlives his temporary internet fame. This is all clearly tied to the occult, and Kai himself admits that. By Kai saying he was shedding his skin, that is a reference to the death and rebirth. His collab with the Smith family just further confirms this. Is it a coincidence that Jaden Smith, who was just named the men's creative director for Christian Louboutin, is the one mentoring Kai's new brand? Fans are already dragging Kai, calling this new persona performative and forced. They can feel that the old Kai didn't choose this. He was chosen. He even brought a Vivet journal to Paris Fashion Week, literally taking notes like a student while being guided by industry giants like Pharrell Williams. This isn't a streamer making a merch line. This is a transformation being managed by the highest levels of Hollywood. If you pay attention to the designs that Kai shown, it's giving off Balenciaga vibes. Dark gothic high fashion clothes that we everyday people are not meant to understand. Think about the people Kai has been hanging around since he made it to the next level. The celebrities aren't just showing up to his streams anymore. Kai has been showing up at their high society events. Think about that. He is now running around with Will Smith, the same man who is currently being sued by a former musician who worked with him, who accused him of grooming him for the industry. Many people also think Will groomed Jaden, and that's why he's the way he is. Jaden's recent look ever since he was given that position at Christian Louboutin is truly dark and disturbing. He's been running around with red paint on his face, looking like some sort of red-faced demon. People see everything Kai has been doing and they just don't understand. Why quit streaming when you're the biggest? Why walk away from the empire he built? Well, now you understand what this is all about. The question we have to ask ourselves is, what was the real price for Kai's seat at that Hollywood table? Fans are already beginning to notice the cracks in the persona. At Paris Fashion Week, Kai was spotted everywhere carrying that black Vivet journal, supposedly filled with the fashion designs, but the reaction wasn't what he expected. Thousands of his fans called it performative and forced, pointing out that the journal looked like a prop, a script he was told to carry to prove he's a serious designer now. Looking back at Mafiathon 3, you can see exactly where this ritual began. Moments like the humiliation ritual involving Ray J, or the spiritual ritual of LeBron James cutting Kai's hair on the final day, were the moments his old identity was officially shed. Kai's hair cutting during Mafia 3 might seem like just a funny celebration for hitting 1 million subscribers, but if you look deeper, it mirrors the biblical story of Samson almost perfectly. In the Bible, Samson was the strongest man alive. His power was tied to his Nazirite vow, symbolized by his uncut hair. He was an outsider, a warrior that the Philistine elite couldn't control or defeat in battle. But they eventually found his weakness, a woman. They used Delilah to trick him, and while he was vulnerable, his hair was cut. The moment his locks fell, his supernatural strength vanished. He was immediately captured, blinded, and forced to work as a slave for the very people who used to fear him. Now look at Kai Cenat. Kai was the Samson of the streamers. He was successful and didn't need the industry. But then, the industry tempted him with levels of fame that he couldn't refuse. They used that offer of more to symbolically and physically cut his hair. On the final day of Mafiathon 3, we saw a ritual played out in front of millions. It wasn't just anyone cutting his hair either. It was LeBron James, the king of puppets himself, one of the biggest gatekeepers in the industry.
Last one, guys, last one.
Yo, chat. Oh my gosh.
When LeBron cut those locks, they weren't just changing his look. In my eyes, they were cutting his connection to the divine and compromising his soul forever. They tempted Kai with endless power and riches, and he fell for the bait. Like Samson, Kai went through a period of blindness and disappearance immediately after the haircut, only to reappear months later in these eerie red-lit rooms with Jaden and Will Smith. One thing is for certain, the day Kai Cenat let LeBron cut his hair was the day the old Kai officially was no more. This matches the energy of Jaden Smith's own debut as creative director for Christian Louboutin, which was described not as a runway show, but as a fever dream and a ritual drenched in the same eerie red light. Now the question is Kai Cenat really just a creator evolving, or is he a man who traded his soul for a high-fashion script written by industry handlers? His new brand Vivit means to live, but looking at the drained, hollowed-out version of Kai standing in those red-lit rooms, many are wondering, did the old Kai have to die so the industry version could live? Let me know in the comments, do you think they got Kai, or is this just the natural evolution of the world's biggest streamer? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like the ritual is completed and the transformation is finished. If you like content that tells you the unfiltered truth, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more. Well, that's it for this video. I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.